thank you for coming, Courtney. I know we have a friendship for many, 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 many years. She's at Irvinite.
Oh gosh.
She,
Every
she's
time I
at
touch this
Irvinite.
something.
And we're on campus together.
Great,
Yeah.
great.
Right.
Well, the C.E.Os are chancellors, best friends, our sisters, but we love urbanites as well.
Yes.
right?
Oh well, how gracious
love
of
Irvinite.
you.
Not
And
so
then
sure.
again, how
Not,
good and pleasant
not,
it is.
not so sure about the Taylor heads, but we love urbanites.
A bit about Courtney. Courtney is married. He's a father of two young men.
So tell me why you started with marriage.
Because it's stability, and it's stability, and as you
So
talk
he was
about
not
economy,
stable when he was unmarried?
you're gonna get that, Courtney. That's how she is. He's a countryman like you,
Oh,
Yeah.
which parish?
Manchester.
Which, you're from
No,
Manchester?
no, actually, I went to school at the border of Manchester and Clarendon, but I'm really from Clarendon. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
You went to
okay.
Knox.
I went to Knox College, yeah.
You know, had I not
The-
gone to St. Hilda's, it
Yeah.
would have been Knox.
It would have been Knox.
Because Knox is really closer to me than St. Hilda's.
Gotcha.
I'm from a little part of St. Anne that borders Clarendon.
Okay.
You go through Spalding's as if you're going to Brownstown.
Yes.
That big corner,
Yes.
Mount Moriah.
That's right.
So we're in Clarendon. What
So,
village? What town?
Kellett's in Clarendon.
Ah,
Have you heard of
who-
Kellett's?
Of course I have. I've
Okay.
been to
To
Kellett's.
Kellett's, yeah.
Who called Kellett's? Oh, when JN was going to Plowden,
Yeah.
somebody was asked, said something about Kellett's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're
Yeah.
doing some work here.
But my family, we relocated to Spanish Town during high school years. But yeah, spent some of my
Do
childhood
you
in
know
Kellett's.
that I've met so many persons for whom the rural to urban migration path starts with Spanish Town.
Yes.
They moved
Interesting.
from somewhere else. Lowell's family, the producer, they left somewhere near Bamboo in St. Anne and Spanish Town.
Great.
So for us, like I'd always thought that the rural to urban drift was to a big city, but Spanish Town perhaps was a big city at the time when your parents made the
We're
move.
not necessarily strange enough. During my earlier childhood, we spent 4 years in Kingston.
Ah.
So I was born in Clarendon and Chapeltown Hospital. We lived in Kellett's, as I said. And then for 4 years, we lived in Kingston, went back to Kellett's, and then to Spanish Town.
Spanish Town.
Yeah. So we're
Spanish Town is very charming.
We're all over. So we're well exposed, I would say, to a variety
I hear a lot.
of Jamaican life.
Sorry, let me get the sound right.
Getting a little feedback.
Yeah.
And what's your lovely wife,
Pauline.
Pauline?
Mhm.
So your wife is a secret.
Yes, absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
what he said. So
Absolutely.
So it was one of those campus.
Yes, that's right. We met
relationship.
on campus.
Can you
That's
imagine
right.
Very efficient.
Yeah. Very interesting. Got your studies done. Got your life partner
that? Okay.
signed off. All right. How is that?
Okay. All right. So, Courtney, thank you very much for coming. He now operates as the
No, go ahead,
as the
Nanny.
CEO of the VMBS group, right?
VM Group. That's right.
For the last 5 years.
Just almost 6 now, but yes,
Almost.
5.5 years.
5.5 years. We're
Mhm.
getting a bit of feedback in the mic. I don't know
Yeah,
what it is.
it's my mind.
That's right. We need drama.
Right. So,
Go ahead.
and so you've been there, but you have had an interesting path. You for many years you worked with NCB, then you went to Grace Kennedy Group of companies, and then people over VM said, "That's a rising star. Let's go and get him." According to things. So, so how has that been for you?
It has been a tremendous experience. It's a great privilege serving the members and clients of the VM Group. It's a great experience working with the VM team, a very committed team, a highly engaged team, a purpose-driven team. So, and right throughout that enterprise, you find some people who are very committed to the purpose of VM, whether they've been there for 20 years, 30 years, or 2 months. You find this great alignment. So it's really a great experience. And it has been a great experience, and we continue to be excited about what we have ahead of us in VM.
I want to share something with you, and I found it so fascinating. And this is a story that I was talking to one of our members, and I says, I hear that Courtney Campbell has become your CEO, and she just went off. In a very good way, she says,
Oh, Percy.
yeah, she
Is
went
this
off
form
in a very good
overtaking
way,
substance?
meaning that she just liked you as a CEO, and she says, here's what happened. For many years, I've worked in the call center, and I was on contract. And one of the first things that he did was that he looked at it and he says, no, these people need to be on staff. Because the thing is for most people, is to contract out those services. But you decided that don't make no sense for you. What drove that decision?
Well, I wouldn't take full credit for that. I mean, typically moves like that will be worked out with our HR team and our executive team, and really it just requires alignment around how we want to treat our people, right?
And this is internally now.
Internally, that's correct.
Yeah.
And
Your first client.
And at the end of the day, what we're running is a people business.
Okay.
That's how we differentiate ourselves, by the quality of service that we deliver, and the more committed and engaged our people are, it's a better service that they provide to all members and clients. Now, there are certain roles for which that level of commitment has to be really very, very high. We do still have contract team members, to be clear, for some roles that may be, transitory. You won't have them around for a long period of time. Probably they're working on a special project, and the project will end in a few months or a year or so. So it really wouldn't be viable to have that as a permanent role. So we do have some like that. But if it is a role that we're pretty clear is a permanent role, then once the people are performing, we're going to bring them on.
Well, I mean, and that is in keeping with the law.
Yeah.
We were talking about the social taxes the other day, NIS, and I'm still reflecting on it because a part of the commitment as citizens under one covenant is that whatever it is that I need to do to promote your long-term welfare,
Yes.
I should do it, and I should take the doing of it seriously, even if it is at some expense or inconvenience to me. And when you talk about your people first, it's very Machiavellian, by the way. Percival brought up Prince Machiavelli in the other day and had me so we dive into things, and one of the principles from his theory of government is that it is in the best interest of the state to please the people or to gain favor with the people. So that is a Machiavellian principle. Though most of us, when we think Machiavelli, we think of standing on the one man's back to get to the other.
Absolutely.
There's a sense, and I've been exposed to it, there's a sense that sometimes in this effort to be people pleasing, we more do it in form than in substance. How do you ensure that the heart of what you're trying to deliver is expressed? Because I've been in businesses where they have the right form and you see the structure is there, but people are unhappy. Are your people happy?
Well, the numbers say that they are. So
what are the numbers
everything,
to test happiness, by the way?
Our engagement scores, our retention percentage is higher than we even target. So I think the answer to your question is that if you start with clarifying your purpose,
that's a big kingdom principle.
Yes,
absolutely. Start by clarifying your purpose. So, why were we established in November 1878?
William Gordon was a part of that?
No, but
God was a part of that.
But some other clergymen were. In fact, VM is a very, very interesting story that VM was established by a group of clergymen.
Of mixed faith or
interdenominational.
Unity. I love it.
Interdenominational. So
the Catholics
interdenominational. So Catholics,
the Anglicans,
the Methodists. In fact, the lead was Reverend Donor, he was a rector of Kingston Parish Church, and he pulled together a team.
So that would be Anglican.
Anglican, that's correct. And he pulled together a team of Congregationalists, which is now United Church, Methodist, Moravians, even
Baptist. Please say Baptist.
I'm pretty sure, but even someone from the Jewish faith.
Okay, was a part of it.
Was a part of it, right? Ecumenical in its full sense. And I believe they were inspired, Percy and Minette, by Luke 4 verse 18.
Spirit of the Lord.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach good news to the poor, to bring sight to the blind, to bring liberty to the oppressed, right?
And
to bring freedom to the captive.
Around in 1878.
Absolutely. So think about it. You remember 13 years before we had the Morant Bay Rebellion.
Right.
40 years before was the abolition of slavery.
Right.
And we still had made a dent in changing the economic circumstances of the people.
Okay.
And so what they found was that, learning from what was happening in Britain, because, some of these clergymen had British background,
right.
and the building societies were established there, and what it was having impact.
Yeah.
Small savers would come together, and people would borrow from that to buy their own homes, and they thought that this idea could be tried in Jamaica. This is the liberty.
Failure or success? What do you think?
I think it's been a big success. I think it's been a huge success. Now, the truth is that could more have been done? I would say perhaps, but definitely more could have been done, because Jamaica is still a very...
But more can still be done.
More can still be done. Jamaica is still a very unequal society.
Okay.
And the inequality is rife. It's a source of huge problems here.
I was somewhat troubled last night. I know in politics, you always want the last word, to put it that way. And I was a little troubled to see our Prime Minister saying that the 35 million per unit house in Ruthven Towers, declaring it a success, seeming to applaud the NHD for putting our little bit of money that each person contributes, putting it to use in that way, because as he declared it, all parts of the market need to be served. And it came to mind when you spoke about the beginning of things for the building society, and this sense that if people come together, then the average person can own a home.
Yes.
The average person in Jamaica is still trying to own a home. And I think building society versus NHD, who's really doing what?
Well,
it
I think
sounds to me that the building society might be staying truer to purpose than even the NHD.
Well, and to be honest, we do collaborate with the NHD.
I know.
Right? So many of our mortgagers, they are able to blend the funds, our funds.
Because really the NHD money can buy a good house by itself.
Precisely. So they do borrow what they can from the NHD and from us.
To the
and that combination works for many.
Yeah.
And we encourage, that's a joint finance mortgage program, it works for many.
In my interaction with the two, I really have found that the building societies have been more service oriented. They've been good partners. So I'm giving the building society a big tick in the box of living to purpose. What's your score? I mean, I know you said great success, but you did mention more to be done. How do you see that?
So there's more. So what have we done over the years? So we have expanded in that business. We started with one branch in 1878. We now have 16 in Jamaica and 5 representative offices overseas, because remember, we recognized in the 80s that many Jamaicans who lived overseas planned to return home and wanted to save here. And so, the managers
was
at the
VM
time.
the leader in that?
We were definitely the leader. We're the first.
Well, you're the oldest.
Yep.
You should be the leader.
We actually, the other large mutual was established before us. Jane, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. A few years, not long. But we were the first to establish overseas representative offices.
Yeah.
There are many firsts
Yes,
that
yes,
VM
yes.
has done over the
All
years.
right,
So,
well, you know what?
so we went to the UK. We now have 3 offices there: Brixton,
Brixton, I know the one in
Tottenham,
Brixton.
and Birmingham. You know the one in Brixton.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, because
Yeah.
just about when VM went there, Masla John Gordon
Yes.
She's
Gotcha.
a lawyer.
Yeah, I know.
yes,
I know.
was a
And-
lawyer.
and-
Please, let's be clear
Yes,
on that.
he was a lawyer.
I've
yeah.
cut
Studied
ties.
the law.
You have hung, yeah, okay, no problem. So you have hung up your wig.
She don't may teach me about my frock. She's going to the frock
Actually-
because I'm a pastor. So you hang up your wig
You
now
know
every
what? I
day.
could
Yeah.
actually give my frock to Pastor Percy. 'Cause
Yes.
it would probably fit him. My robe is hanging in.
Yeah.
Guest number 2.
Yeah.
For a son.
So and then we now have one. We 10 years ago, 11 years ago, we established one in Florida, and just a few years ago in New York. So
And it's doing well.
doing well.
You're finding
We're
Yeah.
using it to serve our members. So
Yeah.
so we have expanded the number of branches, but we have also introduced lots of electronic channels. So your people are now able to apply for these mortgages online,
Okay.
and access their accounts via internet banking, via mobile banking, via
So-
the intelligent
so the
ABMs.
technology has been incorporated into serving your customers.
That's
Yeah,
right.
more efficient.
But then we have discovered over the years that people need more than home ownership solutions. That people would want to establish or need to establish investment portfolios
Yes. Yeah.
and prepare for retirement.
So your perspective on prosperity for the citizen, for the Jamaican or wherever they are, goes wider than just having a house.
No, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So for us, we talk about financial well-being and empowering people to achieve financial well-being. And for us, that means having a financial plan. Because many of us are walking around without a plan. Right? Having a financial plan and sticking to it. That's one. Secondly, yes, owning your own home or working towards that home ownership. Thirdly, establishing an investment portfolio. Right?
So in this environment, and that's a loaded question, because you will have to tell me how you see this environment. What are you saying to people about an investment portfolio? Because for me, I look at the landscape, and what I see are a lot of maybe single family or concentrated ownership of capital, and being deployed in some ways that typically don't even benefit Jam Rock. A lot of the money goes abroad, and I don't see a great deal of opportunity to build a portfolio outside of your own private entrepreneurial endeavors. How do you see the average Jamaican moving into investment without continuing to enrich? Well, I'm going to say 21 families because that's how it was said in my
Yeah, but no, it's a great question. We actually believe that there are many solutions around many offered by VMware that you talked about democracy earlier, that help to democratize access to the capital markets. So, for example,
Like the JMB model.
yeah, I mean, we're not the one to play in that.
JMB model.
No, we're not the one to play in that market. So GMB would go on, but the truth is that the unit trust investments, for example, basically those portfolios allow you and I to start small, but to invest in stocks. As to become owners of capital ourselves, right? To invest in bonds, to invest in real estate. So many people do not realize that you can benefit from the capital appreciation in, say, commercial properties, and from the lease income generated by those properties without actually directly owning the property. By the three of us coming together in what is called a unitized investment to buy this property. And that's really what the unit trust is about. That we have pooled our funds to make these investments, whether it is property, purchasing a bond, buying some equities, right?
Okay. So what you're saying,
Yeah.
Courtney, is that the unit trust, and I've noticed that for VM, not VM the building society, but VM investment, it has really mushroomed and grown. I know a couple of the people who work there.
Right.
And you're saying it's becoming one of your greatest growth areas now for you.
Absolutely, because you can start with guess what? Guess what is the minimum to establish that unit trust account?
I hope it's $1,000.
But that's a little more, $10,000. Right? Can you imagine? Right? So you start with that and you put in whatever you can each month, right?
All right, we're gonna run an
and
exercise.
And over time you
You
build.
know, I'm a VM customer. I just remember my first apartment, the first real estate that I bought.
Yes.
I borrowed some like $300,000 from VM.
That's
In like 1992 or something.
Very
like that.
good. Thanks.
It was a long time ago because
Thanks for the business.
Yeah, I still have my account. I'm gonna put $10,000 on a unit trust, something or other later today.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna
Thanks for that.
We're gonna report back here.
Yes,
how
and
it
your
performs.
experience.
Yes.
And
because-
not only that, you should report on
Yes.
how you added to it over time.
Yes. Well,
Right?
yeah.
And how it's been. And
Well,
how it's
less of that,
performing for
less
you.
of that reporting, but more of
Okay.
more of how
I
it
want to
performs.
shift it a little bit.
Sure.
Yes.
We've been talking about democracy
Yeah.
and what is happening and how our leaders really have not enabled us as a society to move forward. And one of the greatest things is corruption.
Mm.
What say you? You are one of the leaders of industry. How much has it?
He's one of the
hampered?
princes.
One of the princes of industry. How do you see that?
Well, all right. Before I go to that, I wanted to just make another point because this has to do with financial well-being as well. Because I was going through a definition for you. Two other points I wanted to make. Financial well-being also involves preparing for retirement.
Oh, please, yes.
Because too many of us in Jamaica are relying on our children or our friends, our church brothers and sisters to look after us in retirement.
And unless your child is an NBA professional player
That's right. You could have a
or
problem.
NFL.
Right. and so our retirement plans offered through VM pensions, for example, are very important in enabling people to achieve this financial well-being.
And you can get into that at any time.
Anytime.
It's-
And in
it's-
fact, the
yeah.
earlier the better, but it's never too late.
Clearly,
Right?
but
And
yeah.
then finally, definition of financial well-being, the ability to withstand shocks,
Okay.
to be resilient.
Mm-hmm.
Many people, when COVID hit last year, did not have a dollar in saving to turn to.
And now those who did still don't have a dollar in savings because it's all been spent up.
Precisely, right? So,
So-
let's go to Percy Square. So that's the definition of financial well-being, and we're very committed to it. And let's segue into your question.
But you've drawn me out. You can't leave me hanging.
All right.
What about the return to resilience? Because earlier in the COVID thing, that was a big burden on my heart, looking to see how corporate Jamaica was positioning itself to help citizens achieve a return to resilience.
Right.
I don't know what VM has on board, and I am a customer. Although they did send me a note saying they miss me. I hadn't looked at my account.
And we do miss you, minute. We miss you.
I'm coming back later
So,
today.
yeah,
I'm gonna do a unit trust.
So
thing.
please say to them, I shall
test it.
return.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are returned. I'm a VMBS customer.
I hadn't looked at it. Oh, so let's do a unit trust thing and see what happens with it.
returns happen.
But
Yeah.
the return to resilience, that has been a burden to me because what I see are increased fees, of course, reduced contact because we're social distancing like
Yes.
mad. And for this, I applaud you for coming here and being in close contact with Percy and myself. Most people are asking to see, a friend of mine said, well, we're only doing fully vaxxed and only on Sundays kind of thing. But a lot of changes are occurring where what I see is corporate Jamaica seeking more to stabilize and assure its own survival. Not that readiness to open up and create avenues for the customers that they're going to need to also rebound. I won't make it personal, but you get the gist of it.
Well, and I do, but I think there are some institutions, and VM is among those, that we actually did more business in 2020 than we did than before. In other words,
Wow.
we put more people into their own homes and giving more people access to investment solutions and selling more retirement plans in 2020 and 2021 than we did before, right? So we have, because we're purpose driven, we then had to take time out to understand what are the real needs of our people
At this
at
time.
this time.
Okay.
And so we, of course, took steps to protect them,
Yeah.
to ensure that, you know, all the visitors to our branches, our offices were
safe.
Were safe.
Yeah.
You know, so the sanitization was there and so on. But and the physical distancing, and unfortunately some had to wait a little longer outside our offices if they had to turn up there. But we also ensured that our new electronic channels were working very well.
Right,
And
so
we had excellent migration statistics there. So we're very pleased with how our members and clients have been using these channels. We have put new channels in place, for example, in wealth management and pensions and so on. And just before COVID, we had launched our mobile app, which has turned out to be a winner for us. So we have done all of those initiatives to ensure that our members and clients are better served. But on top of that, as I said, the actual financial solutions, we have sold more last year than before, and more in 2021 than we did in 2020. So we keep establishing new records. And it's because of our commitment to serve and to
serving
ensure
the actual needs.
the
not-
actual needs of the people. Right.
All right. I'm getting the signal to take a break.
Sure.
Save your answer for Percy's
chat.
question until we return. This is the Morning Connection. Our guest is Mr. Courtney Campbell. We'll be right
CEO of
back.
VMBS Group. Welcome back. Welcome back. And we've been having interesting conversations and dialogue with Courtney Campbell, CEO of the VMBS Group, and guest
Oh, VM Group? Do they keep the
VM
BS
Group.
anymore?
VM Group, because they've recently rebranded.
They've cut out the BS.
Yeah. But we discovered something very interesting in the break. Our next guest, John Andre Lawrence, was talking about, hold on, he just did the ad for you in terms
The
of
music.
the music for the ad for you, which is on radio.
Transform your everyday.
Transform your everyday. So it is really a revelation, but I'm seeing God making the timing right in terms of what has happened. But when we went to the break, Courtney, we were talking about corruption and its impact on what's happening in our country. We simply say on this program, we need a new covenant between the government and the people. A covenant that speaks to love, honor, respect. That speaks to personal empowerment, greater involvement of the persons on the ground, and just beginning to take action. We're waiting for government to do a lot of stuff, but we are saying, but what's your take on corruption? It takes about 5% of our GDP, they say.
Yeah, well, and I don't know the figures on that, but that's an estimate from Transparency International.
Right.
What I think, who I'd prefer to put this, Percy and Minute, is that Jamaica needs a different type of leadership, and not only speaking about
Political, I know.
not speaking about political leadership in the business sector, in civil society, in
Across the board. All the
across
pillars
the
of
board,
society.
wherever we are, we just need a different type of leadership. Because as John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership, right? So we need, and when you think about Jamaica, we're so talented.
Yep.
Our people are so
That's a
talented.
blessing and a curse, really.
Yeah, I mean,
because
I think we're too blessed with gifts of nature and the creative and energetic people to be so poor, so divided, and for life to be so painful for many, and
Too many.
for too many. So I think for this next period, we need, I think, all of us, if we find ourselves in a position of leadership, church, school, hospital, running a business, you know, on the radio station, maybe in political leadership, that we need to move up to the next level in terms of vision, right?
yes.
important.
being very clear about why you're called to this particular leadership role
Or
at this time.
whatever
right?
platform you're standing
You know, what are the new possibilities? What are the opportunities that you should be leading your people to grasp, to take advantage of? I think we need to be more inclusive. And this is a democracy that you're speaking of earlier.
Yeah.
Because what we need to recognize that in this time of volatility and uncertainty, that, you know, a small set of people thinking about solutions and acting to solve the problems will not be sufficient.
Right.
What we need to
Talk
do is
about consensus.
absolutely, we need to build consensus. We need to
with the widest group.
we need to go with a
because-
wider, more diverse group of people who can help us to think through the solutions that we need to have in place, and also help us to execute.
Precisely, because a lot of the failure takes place in the execution. If you go on any government website, or if you go to or any corporate website, you see a clear statement of vision and
Yes.
purpose, and if you look for the policies, and the policies they all tend to be true to, let's say, international best standards.
Absolutely.
And so you get the understanding that there are competent, knowledgeable persons who are doing and saying the right things. When it breaks down in the execution, I am left thinking that there is an issue of integrity. I think in the break, Pastor said corruption, and you and I were using integrity as the focal point, because it is the character of the individual. Or here, I talk a lot about the spirit of the law, and it is what stands behind the actual word which makes the difference. And we seem to be failing in that respect, which really is a matter of integrity. Lack of it is
And I have a
manifested
simple
as corrupt
definition for-
thinking. And
For integrity, what you say is what you do. That's just it. If you say you're going to do, that's what you
Yes,
end up
yes.
doing.
Are doing what you're supposed to without doing.
right, because
When-
if I say I'm gonna kill a man and I kill him,
No, no.
I do have integrity, but have I done the right
It
thing?
starts with the intention that what you're doing is right. So if you
Yeah.
say
and doing the right thing when
Yeah.
when no one is watching.
right,
Because for me, it
Yeah.
is that coincidence of the private self and the public self, where you stand as one, which is kind of like the literal meaning of
Absolutely.
integrity. You
Yes,
you
that's
stand
right.
as one. We now are talking about the values, that the one which you stand for is now something noble and positive and beneficial to the masses. How are you seeing us make that kind of that transformation? Because you talk about the abundance of talent. We see more evidence of the abundance of talent in how well we run the gangs, or how well we
Right.
carry out some activities that don't bring a positive result. In your own organization, how are you putting heart and spirit behind the excellent planning?
Great point. So what I think we have done well at VM is to ensure that all our people understand the purpose
Okay.
and see themselves in it,
As a part
and
of
see
it.
themselves and own it. Right. So what we have done, we have spent a lot of time developing core values and ensuring that all our people understand what we mean by these core. So we define them. We don't just say that we're member focused, or a core value is integrity, or teamwork, innovation, or excellence, without defining
Breaking
what
it
it
down.
What it
means to
is.
each of us.
Make it practical.
And we actually measure ourselves by that, to the extent to which not only have we delivered on some business goals, but have we lived by our core values. And we assess each other
Okay.
every 6 months.
Peer review.
Peer
Yeah,
review, yes,
yeah,
yes.
on whether we are displaying the desired behaviors,
Okay.
these desired behaviors which are really aligned to the core values. But beyond that, we have a really powerful culture program. Right?
So this is
Culture.
a nice segue into John Andre's interview.
Yeah, we have a culture program that so we have 7 cultural beliefs. And as you know, culture is about how you think, how you behave, how you make decisions.
Self-expression.
Right? And we hold each other accountable for those. And whenever we see someone displaying these cultural beliefs,
you reward it, you acknowledge.
we acknowledge it,
And
we promote
promote.
it,
Yeah.
Okay.
we recognize it, right? to say that everyone else, this is what we mean
This
by
is the
being
standard.
this is what we mean by being customer obsessed.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is
This
the
is what we
standard.
mean by collaboration. We call that one together we're a winner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? This is what we mean by executing well. We call that VMXL.
Okay.
Right?
So let me
Yeah.
ask you specific questions
Yes.
now. Does every VM staff member own a home?
Not at this point, but
How do you
But the-
handle that?
but
Because
we-
I'm sure you're making sure.
yeah,
that
that's
they-
right.
they
Not
do.
at this point, but I mean, we have increased significantly the percentage of VM staff members who own their own homes. What we have done is to establish the very best mortgage package for staff
Yeah.
in the
So
in the in
do
in
you
the
have any
in,
openings
in the industry.
for staff? Are you employing?
Well, for bright people like you.
You'll make something.
Yeah, definitely. So so right. So we did our research because we're very committed to the financial independence of our team
Okay.
members.
Yeah,
Right.
I tell you, I would have ended the interview if you didn't have that kind of response. Really, because you have to live. You have to live.
We have to live it.
Well,
You have to live
You
it.
have to live
You
it.
Yeah, have to live it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it gives us great pleasure
Yeah.
to see our young people, turning their own keys, right?
Okay.
As,
That's
as,
the
as,
staff member.
our staff members,
Yes,
and
yeah.
and then they then understand the process and they can guide our members and clients accordingly.
Absolutely.
Right?
Okay.
I don't believe. Percy, please don't have another question because
I'm
that's
not
the
having a-
perfect
you-
close.
look-
It is. Let me
All right. So
let me lay a foundation,
Yes.
please, because I don't want you to answer in a vacuum. So we have listeners who are at an age when financial planning for the over 60s, big deal. And we also have, unmarried elderly women who would like to leverage the equity in their homes and to be able to do something. You talked about financial planning. So the curiosity about it is making it accessible, guiding persons through it, and really having a heart for the financial well-being of those in a particular age group.
yeah. So and we do. So we don't currently offer reverse mortgages. It has been raised before, but when we have done the analysis and found that because of our conditions here in Jamaica, interest rates and so on, that it actually would not work out favorably for those customers.
Instead, what do you
So
do?
instead, what we're promoting is we're encouraging these retirees to take advantage of our investment solutions, right? So if you have a little nest egg, little lump sum, we guide you on how best to generate some good returns because the same principle. To generate some returns on it so that you would probably be able to pull your interest off quarterly or monthly.
So
Yeah.
specifically now, could I take out a loan against the equity in my home, invest it with you, you pay yourself and put aside money for me?
The interest differential probably wouldn't work like that.
So what would be comparable? Because
so-
what these persons are aiming to do is
Yes.
you own a home, it's $16 million. Your equity in it is $16 million. It is, unencumbered. You want to be able to have some kind of annuity. It's like
Right.
purchasing an
Yes, I
annuity
understand.
late in
I understand.
life. Could that be done? How could that be done? Because this is what persons are looking
All right,
for.
all right, so that solution wouldn't work well because if you think about it, the interest rate that you would pay us on that mortgage is likely to be higher than what you would earn on the investment. So
And that is what you call the conditions in Jamaica.
right.
All right, so
Yeah.
we're back to it. I know there shouldn't be another question because now
I
we're
know me, are you?
no, well, the producer rule.
No, so
But you know
if-
why I
if-
say that?
if-
Because initially when we were speaking and you talked about building a portfolio, an investment portfolio,
Right.
and I did my own characterization of the investment scene in Jamaica. That's where I was, where you would pay more to even borrow money, take out a mortgage, than you would earn on a portfolio of stocks and bonds, unless you were doing some real high risk things like overnight lending to people who may disappear the next day.
That's correct. Yeah, that's
So,
correct. And I think at that age,
yeah.
you don't want to be taking
You
too
can't take
much
that.
risk.
That is a
Right.
sure way to die
Right,
early.
right.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Shut
When you're
alone.
in retirement, remember the rule of thumb is that as you get older, the portion of your portfolio that you're exposed to high risk should be less, right? So which is the reason why you should really go with safer instruments, but with a risk return trade off. The safer instruments will actually will also have lower
risk,
yield,
lower yield.
right?
Yeah.
So the real solution to that, unfortunately, it's not a good solution for those who are already in retirement. The real solution, if you're working towards retirement, is to start to build your investment portfolio. Start small, save what you can now.
But that's you're talking to John Andre.
No, not only that.
Who is poised to make millions in music. So he's not thinking that he'll ever be 65 and not have enough.
But he wouldn't. I'm glad you raised that.
Of course, he's going to be coming to VMBS.
I'm glad you raised that because the John Andres of this world should start to invest for the long term from now. And he should speak with us about, for example, our approved retirement scheme. You are allowed to, whatever your income is, you're allowed to invest up to 20% of that. And it's tax-free saving.
And I'm sure you're doing something in hard currency, because other callers are complaining that when they do get the pension or the annuity, whatever it is, depreciation has knocked the life out of it. And they are now looking for reverse mortgages, man can say.
That's right. Well, if not strictly a pension plan, there are other investments that are in hard currency. So we encourage people to take advantage of that. But to close on your point about the integrity in public life, the other thing that we need to encourage, all of us, is just principled leadership, because I think we want to say that regardless of what leadership position we find ourselves in, let's promote good governance, let's promote transparency, let's promote inclusion, to have as many people involved in the process as possible, and let's commit to strengthen our key institutions. Key government institutions and key private sector institutions. Let's commit to improving how they work, and benchmark against world-class standards.
Yeah. Or for us, kingdom standards.
And kingdom standards, right?
Yeah. When you said institutions, at first I wasn't thinking literal government agencies and so on. I was thinking like institutions like democracy and marriage and partnerships, and I was thinking a
those
little
are
more.
part of it. To my mind, those are part of it. But the key ones like the justice system, what's happening with the police, nurses, that kind of
three ethics that we need to observe in all of those. When I speak about strengthening, holiness, justice, and love.
Well, we said the kingdom is built upon Psalms 89, righteousness,
justice,
mercy.
Right. Now, we didn't include holiness because we didn't want people to recognize that we fall short.
I know, but that's right. But you should try to.
I say, listen to that person talking about holiness.
Also righteousness, then. But the issue is that let's do what is right for everyone.
Yeah.
As best we can.
Yeah. Let's promote justice, and let's recognize the humanity in others. And then let's show love in practical ways. Love is an action word.
All right. What love are you leaving with us this morning?
The love I would leave with you is to encourage you, right?
Loving encouragement.
The best thing I can say to you is to reignite, right, your VM relationship. Right?
That's going to cost you.
So we can show you some love.
I will be reigniting.
Courtney, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
I call this dialogue instruction. Just talking. Dialogue.
It's a conversation. And it's been a wonderful conversation.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed it. Thanks very much for having me.
Very charming, and we really appreciate your coming to do a face-to-face with us. I hope it's not the last time. We're here every Thursday, so if you want to have breakfast and pass by, you will be the most welcome person at our table.
Thank you so much, Minette. Thank you, Percy. Thanks for having me, and have a wonderful day.
Yes,
and I'm glad I met
John Andre.
John Andre.
Yes,
very good.
And as they say in some places, the king is dead. Long live the king.
So John Andre, probably you could sing the transform your everyday song for the. I know you produce it, but play it for them. Transform your everyday.
We'll find a way to let him play it, but singing, I can tell you, he wants to keep his fans.
All right.
All right. We're going to take a break now. All right. Thank you. This is the Morning Connection. Stay with us.